My neighbor just started playing music.
Hello, everybody. This is Mary Hollywood. Thank you so much for meeting us at The Crossroads. Today, I'm introducing a new segment to the show called The Ladies of Direction. This is a moment where I'm going to have different women come on the show, and we are going to meet at this crossroads, everybody coming from their own path. And once we are standing at this crossroads together, we're going to try to forge a new path so that we may find a new way to move forward. Even if we disagree somewhat, we have to find that common ground for the greater good for our society and for ourselves, for our families, our communities, so that we don't stay in this entrenched, corrupt system that we are living right now. So today's topic will be covering the unraveling of the Me Too movement amid Tara Reade's sexual allegations against Joe Biden, and what that means for the movement going forward and how it makes us feel, especially as women. So please welcome my guests, Kimberly Deligan and Victoria Lynn Hall, as we discuss this topic. So Kim, let's start off with you. Tell us how you're feeling amid all this discussion.
I am feeling dismayed and frustrated for the whole situation. I mean, this is one aspect of my frustration.
Of course.
The allegations against Joe Biden and how the media industrial complex is rallying to discredit the allegations without any real investigation.
Yeah. What about you, Victoria?
Yeah, I feel the same. I recognize that there's a lot of things that I don't like about Joe Biden and that I have my own bias, but I expect the media to be, to report the facts and not the bias that I'm seeing, on their side, and that the politics are affecting how this is being reported, and that's frustrating to me.
Yeah, I think that what really triggered everybody on the progressive side was the fact that Tara Reade was completely ignored. It took them over a month to even say her name or do any covering of any sort of her allegations. And I feel that once Donald Trump was bound to be elected, right, he was becoming the nominee, that's what really sparked the Me Too movement, where we were like, oh, hell no. You know what I mean? A guy that has over 24 sexual allegations against him, we cannot allow this to happen. And it really drove the movement, gave us so much force and energy, and women came together from all walks of life. And now, suddenly, when the person being accused is the Democratic nominee, then all of a sudden, it's no longer black and white. Now, now it's a gray zone that we have to take everything into consideration. What does that do for the movement?
The movement has been sacrificed. Unfortunately, people like Weinstein, who was that senator, the Democratic, I can't place his name right now.
Al Franken.
Al Franken.
Mm-hmm.
He had to resign for a picture of not even touching a woman, just a joke.
Yeah.
So I think when it benefits the establishment, they want to sweep it away. When someone is more progressive and vulnerable to the establishment, then they have to go. It's a matter of convenience for them. I'm so just surprised by the prominent members of the Me Too movement coming out against Tara Reade when there's really been no investigation, and she's one of 8 accusers. So it's, where do you draw the line with inappropriate touching? And then I don't think it's appropriate for any person to get away with inappropriate touching when that's very hard to prove, sure, but if stories are corroborated, where there is smoke, there is fire.
Yeah.
And you see these narratives in the media about she changed her story. And, you know, if you just see the headlines, and they count on you just seeing the headlines, right? She changed her story. She didn't change her story. She added to her story. She still maintains everything that she said. And it's, you know, it's a very credible, I find it very credible. It's definitely she said, he said, but it's not, she changed her story. She's not credible. That's attacking her. And the thing about the Me Too movement, I mean, it's dead because nobody's going to want to come forward now. It's not just that they're not believing her. It's that they are going out of their way to discredit her and not listen to her. And you know, who wants to be treated that way?
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you said that, Victoria. That's, to me, the point. It's like they're literally going out of their way to smear her. Like they had trending, Tara Reade is a liar. Really? That's how we're going to, you know, welcome victims, survivors? That's how we're going to make them feel confident to tell their stories? This, to me, is really, really heart-wrenching to watch. As a mother of a 6-year-old daughter, what kind of example am I going to give to her? You know what I mean? For her to feel confident to ever come forward. God forbid if that was ever to happen. When I look at Joe Biden touching kids, so, you know, and everybody, and that's something that I wanted to bring up, is the psyche behind everything. I was thinking not of the, you know, the establishment. The establishment is doing what they do, okay, and they're going to keep doing it. But the people, like women, regular women who defend Trump, women who defend a man like Joe Biden. It's like, why? Why are we defending this guy? We, like, in general, women. And I was thinking back in high school and how things used to be. And when Kim said, you know, how long are we going to tolerate inappropriate touching? And I remember the games that we used to play, you know, boys and girls, was touching. I remember, like, my guy friends used to come and, like, slap my ass, and, like, it was funny. You know what I mean? I think that it's so ingrained for a lot of us women to just accept this kind of behavior as appropriate, as funny. It's a joke. It's not serious. But, you know, if we build on that, there's so many levels that in the end always keeps women put down.
It's about power.
It is about power, exactly. And
it's totally, yeah.
And control.
I worked in a corporate environment, and, you know, I wouldn't say I was sexually harassed, and I would not say I was, you know, assaulted, but there were definitely moments where somebody would put their hands on me in a way that felt, you know, condescending, and it felt like a power move.
Like that little pat on the back, like, oh.
Right. It, like, you know, like, oh, you're a good girl, you know, and it to me, there was one moment where somebody put their hands on my shoulders, and I felt very uncomfortable about it. And afterwards, one of my my coworkers said to me, like, I saw that, and that wasn't right, you know. And it was so great of her to do that, because it made me feel so uncomfortable, and she validated, you know, that I had a right to feel uncomfortable. I think as women, we need to validate each other. You know, we need to listen to each other. It's very powerful to have that, you know, solidarity amongst women, and to see other women, especially women within the Me Too movement, treat somebody this way is just, it's so disheartening. You know, there are things that are bigger than politics. It reminds me of, like, football teams when they, you know, like, they might have a player on the other team that I don't like, and then they sign that player, and then it's like, oh, well, now I like that guy, he's on my team, right? I'm team woman more than I am team whatever, you know. Mm-hmm. And I'm really, you know, I think Me Too should be above politics.
Absolutely. And that's the point. And this is something that I want to discuss, is that I don't want the left to fall into the same trap of teams. And when it's political, and it sucks that this surrounds politics, because politics are games. I know everybody forgets that we are all people behind, these parties, but in the end, they're playing with our lives. And when we choose to be politically convenient when treating something such as sexual abuse, then we are stepping into a line that I would not dare cross. And I feel I asked this question. I said, what if the allegations were made against Bernie Sanders? Would we be reacting the same way that we are?
Well, for one, that the Democratic establishment would come after Bernie with all guns blazing.
They did already, right? Calling him sexist amid that whole Warren.
They were trying to pull every stop against him, and that was clear, very clear. So as far as his supporters, I think that they would investigate more, I would investigate more than going one way or the other. Because being a woman and also knowing, if my sexual harassment experience has gone to my very first job. When I was 13, I was harassed by my manager, and then at the pizzeria after that. And then, there's a whole, so the prevalence of this is nothing to ignore. It's the problem is when it is weaponized. And of course, now I go to that because I'm protective of Bernie. But I don't think, I would seriously consider the truth behind the allegations, but if my gut was saying, yes, it's being weaponized, then I usually trust my gut. And the fact that it is being weaponized now by the progressive base in order to exercise their freedom of voting, and no, inappropriate touching is a disqualifier. And I think if Bernie was guilty, if 8 women came forward saying that about him, I think the movement would find somebody with more integrity, because this, in my experience, the progressive movement is a real people movement. It's not funded by the wealthy. It's not run by oligarchs, and that's why they railed against Bernie so hard during the primary. But I stand strong where I think Biden should drop out. I think he's been disqualified, and they're propping him up for their own benefit. And that's just one disqualifier.
Exactly. That, to me, Biden was already disqualified in my case, and this is just icing on the cake. And the thing for me is that Biden is a liar. Ever since, you can go back to the 80s, he lied about his college being at the top of his class. He plagiarized speeches and literally lied to everyone's faces. He lies about his voting record. So to me, character has to be the number one issue. Where am I going to believe this person if he's going to maintain his agenda? Is he going to do what he says? And to me, Biden is somebody that has clearly shown that he isn't, or he doesn't. So that alone makes me believe Tara even more. But I think that what the progressive movement is doing, highlighting Tara Reade's allegations, is putting on display this hypocrisy. So we believe women, but all of a sudden, no, we don't believe all women because it's not politically, convenient to the establishment.
And that's so transparent. I want to go back to your point of if it was Bernie, I would like to think that I would I mean, we'd all like to think that we would do the right thing in that situation. It would be more difficult, because to believe that, because of the person that Bernie is too, like you said. To me, it's easier to believe it because I know who, and these people who say, well, I know Joe Biden, I know who he is. Really? Like that's just, it's a narrative. It's not the truth, and we really need to be smarter than that. To repeat these things and for the news to say them, CNN said it, so it must be true, or Nancy Pelosi said it, so it must be true. We've got to be careful about who we're listening to.
Even if you look at a clip that was circling around yesterday, where they compared Donald Trump's response to his sexual allegations and Joe Biden's response to his allegation. And obviously Donald Trump was himself, right? Saying, no, it's absolutely false. I'm going to sue all of them. And Joe Biden's like, no, yeah, we have to listen to women. But I didn't do it. So all of it, it's the whole narrative of the deranged Trump syndrome. He's a bad guy because he's crass and we hate him. But Joe Biden is nice and he speaks, well, which he doesn't. He's mentally not there. So we have to get off of these superficialities and really be the party of moral authority that we say that we are. That's the only way to beat Donald Trump. And that's why when we pedal back these movements such as the Me Too movement, we lose all moral authority that we ever had, and we barely had any. So we have to be consistent. We have to go beyond feminism and be human. What is the right thing that we have to do? What does it mean to believe women? Believe women means that if any woman comes forward, we are going to listen to her and we're going to investigate it, not by the political media industrial complex, but by the police. That's where we're going to have investigation happen. So we really, really have to rethink not only politically, but inside of us, what we tolerate and what we don't. I'm not going to be held hostage because of Donald Trump. The primaries are not over. The Democrats, if they want, they can very well switch Biden with somebody else. They've done it before. So I will stand not only because Biden is credibly accused of sexual harassment. He has a history of lying about and standing for horrible things that I will not vote for any longer.
If they say they want to beat Trump, how do we beat Trump with Biden? That's what to me, that's not, you can't say, okay, the goal is we have to beat Trump. He's the worst thing in the whole world. The world is going to end if we have 4 more years of Trump. So we have to beat Trump. And this is who we're going to, no, if the goal is we have to beat Trump, then give me somebody who is better than Trump by a mile, and like you said, it has to be a moral authority because, and I understand that the bar is low, but I think we could do better and we have time to do better. And the people who tell me, no, you have to get behind Biden because, we can't have 4 more years to Trump. I'm like, it's not November. Like, can't we just rethink this? Yeah. Are we so set in our ways that we can't, come up with a better way? There's a better way. And I don't want to wait another 4 years to figure out what it is. Let's start thinking about it now.
Yeah. So this is what the crossroads means. We are standing at this crux where we have to decide what path we are going to take forward. In choosing Joe Biden, we're just going to have same old. And we are here to forge a new path. We are going to say no to the old and we're going to say yes to the new. We have to come up with something better, something that, we haven't done before. And this is what we're working towards. This is what we want people to think about, understand, and articulate. Let's talk about, what could this be? Well, first of all, not putting up Trump to beat Trump. That's number one. Give us something that is worth of our time and consideration, and we will fight for that. But you are giving us nothing.
Just to speak on what you just said, I feel like this is kind of a blessing that they put Biden up against. We are where we are because the people with the power want to hold on to the power they have, and that is with a shoe-in with this candidate. Even if it means losing to Trump, because they still will have a certain amount of power, even though it wouldn't be as much if they won. But Bernie's movement, the progressive movement, almost took over the party. We came so close, and it scared everybody because one of his main things was getting money out of politics, and that would put a lot of people out of power, out of work. It would change the paradigm, and that's what the people want. So I would like to think that, I don't know how we do it, but we have to take over this party. If not, this is our chance to do that. If not, then another party will get all of the people who are just done. And it's a power struggle, and it's the people with the power against the people. And then,
absolutely,
so I think independent media is great to elevate voices like ours so that we can find our people and take over this party this year, like in the next 3 months. It can happen. I think it's possible.
Yeah, we just can't give up. We have to keep trying. And just to be clear, the political establishment is both parties, is the Democrats and the Republicans. And when, like you said, get money out of politics, we can't forget that, the Democrats are putting somebody up, such as Biden, to go up against Trump, because for them, it makes no difference whether Trump wins or loses. They say that they would like to beat Trump, and they get on their, high horse about it as if they're any better, but they're not. Let's not forget that Trump is a cash cow. The Democrats are making so much money, campaigning against Trump. They were dead in the water before. So to them and to the Republicans, they care about their power and their money. So now we care about our power, and we care about having no special interest in between what we need and what we deserve as people. We need people that represent us, that truly represent us, that know our community, that live within our communities, know our struggles, and will do whatever they can to fight for those. So I want to thank you guys so much for participating, Kimberly and Victoria. And I hope that you guys will meet with me here every week so we can discuss these topics and forge this new path together. I hope that you will meet us again at the Crossroads.
My neighbor just started playing music.